If you want your lawn to look like this, you clicked on the right video. Coming up, I cover all the steps I followed to create my golf course lawn. Let's get to it. All right, YouTube. So this is the blueprint, all the steps I followed to create this over the course of the past 2.5 years. So when I first moved into this place, when we first moved in here 2.5 years ago, the lawn didn't look anything like this. I wish I had some pictures of it. Actually, if you go look at some of my old videos, you can see. But we're going to go over all the steps that it took to transform the lawn from what it looked like into what it looks like now. So the grass you're looking at is Bermuda. It's Tifway 419 with some Princess 77 sprinkled in. Anywhere you see like the little darker spots, that's Princess 77 that I'm trying to get to take over. I guess we'll see if I'm successful. So 2 years ago, this lawn looked about like any other Bermuda grass lawn. So the first step in making your lawn look like a golf course fairway is it has to be level, much like a golf course fairway is, right? Figure most lawns, regardless of how good a job the builder does putting the sod down, there's going to be some inconsistencies, there's going to be some bumps, and you're just never going to be able to get rid of that without doing what's called top dressing. So top dressing is the process of applying a sand and organic mix to the surface that helps to smooth out all the undulations and uneven spots in the lawn and gets you this relatively smooth surface for the grass to grow on, for you to cut. So it gives you a good foundation to start with. I've top dressed this lawn twice. So 2 years ago I did it, and then last year one more time I top dressed it. When you top dress the lawn, it's going to look really bad for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on how much rain and how much heat you get. But Bermuda recovers very quickly, and as long as you keep water on it, it's going to come back. Bermuda is incredibly difficult to kill, so don't be afraid if the lawn looks horrible after you've top dressed it. As far as how you can do that, you can do it yourself, or you can do what I did is get a service that will come out and do all this for you. They'll top dress it for you. So once the lawn is top dressed, there are 3 major things you have to focus on to make your lawn look like this and to keep it, to maintain it at this level. And those are your fertilizers, your pest controls, your fungicides, and then most importantly, the mower you use. Like I can't stress enough that 80% of what you see here is the lawnmower. It's 80% of what you see. 20% are all the other things we're about to cover. So for fertilization, I use a combination of 2 fertilizers. I mainly use Milorganite, which is a completely organic for a slow release fertilizer. And then recently I've also started incorporating this fertilizer from Lebanon Turf called ProScape. This is also a slow release or release over time fertilizer, but it comes on a lot faster than Milorganite does. Milorganite takes about 2 weeks to begin working. At least that I found. ProScape, by the time you put it down, about 3 days later, you're gonna start seeing results. So as far as spreader settings, with Milorganite, I put this down pretty heavy. I put it down heavier than bag rate. I set if you have a Scott spreader, I set mine to 10, whereas I think the bag calls for 4.5, something like that. So 10 to 12 is where I normally run mine. It takes about 9 to 10 bags to do the entire backyard, the side, and then the front lawn. So it takes a lot more of this. So again, I set my setting to 10, and it takes about 9 bags to do about 12,000 square feet. In comparison, you have the Lebanon ProScape, which is a commercial grade fertilizer. They use it on golf courses quite a bit, and this covers on Bermuda about 14 to 15,000 square feet. So this you do want to put down at bag rate. Do not put this down any heavier than what they specify in the bag. For a Scott spreader, I run it at 4.5, and that seems to work out fine. I do my entire lawn, and I have just a little bit of the bag left by running this at 4.5. So to recap, the Milorganite is at 10. Again, that's much higher than bag rate, and then the ProScape I run at bag rate, which for a Scott spreader is 4.5. And as a matter of fact, if you don't put it down at bag rate, like I had an issue with my broadcast spreader breaking, and you can see here, that's what happens. So I had a spill of fertilizer, and that's what happens to the grass whenever you have too much down. So don't take the Milorganite route. Follow the instructions and put it down at bag rate. Again, for a Scott spreader, you're looking at 4.5. That's going to be plenty. That's going to be plenty fine. You're going to get great results with it. The other area that you have to consider when you're trying to keep the lawn looking nice is fungicides and insects. So If you notice, I don't have any ant hills. There's also no brown spot, no dollar spot, none of that stuff, none of that fungus on the lawn. So there's a couple ways you can go about this. Recently, I've switched to this product by Syngenta. It's called Caravan G. And get in here so you guys can actually see that. It's called Caravan G. This is a combination fungicide and insecticide. So it kills ant hills, grub worms, beetles, things like that. And in addition, it's also a fungicide. So it prevents things like dollar spot and a lot of the funguses that the lawn can get whenever you get a lot of rain. So an alternative to this is to use that I've done in the past was to use Milky Spore and an Advion ant bait. So it depends. I mean, price-wise, you come out about the same. It just depends on whether or not you want to go a more organic route, which is like what Milky Spore is, and Advion ant bait, or if you want something that's more of a chemical but works very well. This I put down at the beginning of the season. You really have to put it down once, and you're done. So this covers about 8,000 square feet, but I don't put it down at bag rate. I run I think my Scott spreader at like 2.5 with this, so I cover the entire lawn. So I don't actually put this down at bag rate. I put it down lighter than bag rate, and as you can tell, that seems to work. I don't have any fungus, no ants, none of that stuff. So that seems to work out okay. So you get your fertilizers, your slow organic release, completely organic fertilizer, Milorganite. You've got your synthetic, your faster release, the Lebanon ProScape, and then you've also got your fungicide and insecticide. I don't have any pre-emergent here, or I would show you guys that, but at the beginning of the season, I also put down a pre-emergent, I think it's called Spectracide. I think Bayer makes it, but I'll put a link in the description. Actually, in the description, I'll have a link to a blog post where I cover all this again in more detail with like links of where you can find all this stuff and a little bit more explanation. So if we're recapping the beginning of the season, this goes down first, the Caravan G, along with the pre-emergent, and then followed up with Milorganite. Around late June, around the beginning of when the sun starts getting hot, in Georgia, I put down the Lebanon ProScape. This goes down like late May, early June, and you really only need to put this down one time during the entire season because it releases over the course of 3 months, and again, you don't need to go heavy with this stuff. It truly is a really, really good product. This is about $30 for a bag of it. Milorganite, depending on where you get it, you can get it online for, I've seen it as much as $30. If you can probably find it locally, perhaps a bit cheaper, but you have to shop around. And then the Caravan G, the fungicide and insecticide, this is like $70 a bag. So it's kind of expensive, but if you compare it to like the organic route of Milky Spore and the Advion ant bait, it comes out to be about the same, and it saves you the headache of having to apply 2 different products. So that's what I do from a chemical standpoint, right? A major like horticultural practices standpoint. In addition, late last year and this year, I've also started trying out a growth regulator, PGR. What plant growth regulator does is it slows down the stem growth of the grass. So instead of having to mow the grass almost every day to keep it at this height, I'm mowing it, 3 times a week now. So it slows down the growth. It's not required. You don't have to do it, but it just saves you from having to be out here, every other day mowing the grass. I mean, I'm out here anyway doing it because I enjoy it, but if you want to, you can consider also PGR. The link to the PGR that is used on my lawn and where you can get it is in that post in the description. So just check that out, and you'll be good to go from there. As far as water requirements, Bermuda doesn't really require that much water. What it does need is heat. So the more heat you have, the better. Bermuda requires about an inch of water per week. This year in Georgia, we've had quite a bit of rain, but there's a stretch there where we went like 2.5 weeks without a drop, and I didn't water, and the grass, the turf still looked really, really good. So, as you maintain it, you keep it healthy, you keep nutrients in it. The water requirements, don't necessarily go up. It's actually a pretty good grass, and it's really hard to hurt Bermuda, so it's a great grass for this kind of a project. As far as the mower, again, the most important aspect, I mean, if I had to put it in percentages, 80% of what you see here after top dressing, I mean, top dressing is important for it to be smooth, but once top dressing is done, 80% of having the lawn look like this comes down to the mower. Now, you have a couple of options. You can use something like this, a TrueCut, which is a powered reel mower. I have a review on this mower that I did here recently, so if you guys want, you can check that out. Check out other videos on my channel. I'll also link it in the description of the video, the link to this video for that guy. You can run something like this, or you can do what I did for the first 2 years, which is use a push reel mower, like one from Scott's. So from Scott's, you have an option of like a 20-inch or a 16-inch. I've used both. The 20-inch is better. You cover, it uses less passes, and it's just a better made mower. It's a little bit heavier, so it cuts the grass a bit better. But I never got the turf to look like how it looks now until I switched to this. If you want to see what the grass used to look like before, go to my season 2, my earlier season 1 and season 2 videos of my golf course lawn project, and you'll see those outlined there. But this guy's really important. This is like the most important aspect of getting the lawn to look like this. Not inexpensive. Again, these are around $2,000 brand new. You can find them in the used market for a lot less than that. You can pick up a True Cut for under $1,000 on Craigslist. So that's another option too. But again, as far as the blueprint for creating a golf course lawn, it is, if we're going to outline it, it's top dressing. So get the surface smooth, and then mowing frequency. So again, make sure you can't be cutting the grass every 2 weeks. This is going to be a several time per week commitment. And then the fertilizers you use. So Milorganite is a staple. Proscape is like a stack, and then you've got like your fungicide and insecticides to keep all the nasty stuff away. So if you had to think about it, this is like your pre-workout and your post-workout in the gym. Milorganite and Proscape. That's your stack that really allows you to make your gains. And then this is just whatever, your vitamins to kind of keep the lawn healthy and just not have moles and ants and grubworms and that kind of stuff destroying the turf. So so that's it. So that's my blueprint. That is what I did to create what you see here. It seems to work. I really enjoy it. It's like a little side hobby of mine. So I hope you guys found this useful. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment box below. Like, subscribe, share this video. And again, I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.